Hello, greetings. This is Gilles Mansillon. I thought I'd come and say hello to continue to talk about the universe of the real, the universe of the multi-dimensional nature that we all possess, that we have forgotten when we came down to this reality. But now it is the time to reconnect, to remember. For the message that come from the higher planes are always the same. They're always about love, always about light, always about unity, always about wisdom. So the messengers change, the angle change, but the messenger doesn't really matter. It is the message that we need to integrate, for it is a higher self that needs to unfold within each and every one of us. So we need to focalize on the heart in order to receive the information. For in terms of astrology, we are coming through the month of July. There are going to be a couple of eclipses that will help us to eliminate all kinds of old cosmic debris, all kinds of shadows, and we're going to move into a period where with the full moon in Capricorn, that will be very potent and powerful. Most of the planet will be in retrograde, so it's going to be Pluto in retrograde, Mercury in retrograde, Neptune in retrograde, Uranus in retrograde, Jupiter in retrograde, Saturn in retrograde, Chiron in retrograde. Only Mars and Venus will be going straight forward. and because of Chiron and this Mars and Venus will assist in healing all kinds of our relationship to relationship, whether it is karmic relationship or romantic relationship. We're going to find healing on that level. So those retrograde experience will force us to we'll feel like those things, we've been through that before, been there, done that already. But now they're coming back just the last time in order to find completion in relationship to that, and we'll be forced to ask some big questions. Who are we? What are we here for? What is our mission? What is the sense of our life? So this is going to be a very potent and powerful time. Do not waste time with the past, although the past may come back. It is not about the past. The past is just gone. There is no way that. So it's all about bringing us to that presence, that eternal now that will eventually come across. This connection to the one, the present of the one. And for the universe, as far as the universe is not God, but it is the deed of God. Like eventually will become a masterpiece once every consciousness will be elevated, settled, enlightened life will realize how beautiful everything was, and no matter how long the process is, the process through times that the soul goes in incarnation, when we find this liberation, we'll come to realize the value of all this experience, and no matter how long we spend in time, it is just a drop of water in the eternal nature of our true self. So, because there was a great shift that happened in 2012, but nobody was ready. I know I was late in relationship to my soul plan, but Spirit has informed me that everybody's late. Everybody's in a deep sleep. Now the light workers are coming into their own power, so we'll be able to assist in waking up humanity, for there is a great need to do that. We need to harmonize, balance out the energy of the sun and the moon, the mental and the emotional, the soul and the illusion of time and space. For we have an eye of the moon and an eye of the sun, which balance out within us. There is an important meditation that we need can do. It's first we need to call on our guides to reinforce us, and then understanding that we've had many incarnations before we came down into this plane, into higher planets, higher civilization, into the galactic planes, and those incarnations are always active. Most of ourselves have stayed on the upper planes. So it's about calling on all those incarnations, all those parts of ourselves that existed or still exist in the higher plane, and all the planets we ever incarnated on, to send their love and strength and light and blessings into our own physical body in order to integrate that light. Even if you're not yet, some people are already in contact telepathically with their guides. Not everybody is, but no matter what, even if you're not yet in contact telepathically with your guides, they hear you, they're listening to you, and so you can already call on them, and eventually the communication will be made. Also wanted to say that everybody's, even the atheists, turn to God at some point. When there's like in great moments of despair, everybody turns to God. So it's like, or even the atheists will pronounce the name of, will say the word God in many time without consciously calling on that. But it is their eternal nature. There is nothing real except God that has spread its energy throughout the universe through the infinite diversity, through the process of sexual reproduction and evolution. And so, but do not wait till you're in despair to call on your source, to call on your Lord, the Lord of truth, your creator, your source. I wanted to speak very briefly about Confucius, for I didn't want to idealize the Chinese society, but in Hong Kong they don't want to go backward. Eventually every country is going to have to move into more democracy. But this Confucius philosophy was a philosopher from the 6th century BC he wrote 5 books. And it was all about moral law, to create humans that are moral beings, that are superior beings. There is the inferior man and the superior man, and the wisdom is being carried through a book named the I Ching. And I recommend you get a book. I would recommend the version of Richard Willem. It's the first translator. It's the most faithful to the original Chinese text. And so Confucius used to go all around China with his 72 disciples in the time of the combating kingdoms, trying to unify. And he was a student of Lao Tzu, the great master of wisdom. And essentially he was talking about 3 social links, the 3 essential social link, which is the king and his subject, the husband and wife, and the son and his father. And there was 5 cardinal virtues, which is humanity, faithfulness, civility, rationality, and loyalty. Through those principles, we become honest, we become whole. And this philosophy is based on certain principle, which is to pacify the people, the perfectioning of human conduct, stoicism, which is accepting your fate, family understanding, and the well governance of the country. And so Confucius was very essential. He's a wonderful philosopher. And eventually, all those philosophies are not effect of fashions. They happened thousands of years ago, and they still, their wisdom, no matter, all wisdom is eternal. It will grow in time, but it is something we can rely on. And so I wanted to speak about this idea that I know that God is saying that my life will soon become paradisical, and so. But if I reach this state of paradisical experience, I'm not here to just enjoy that all by myself. I will have to share it with as many people as I can, eventually with the whole world. For we all have this connection to our first source and center, which is the first Father on paradise. And once I was in a meditation, sometime when your mind is really quiet, your soul is able to have astral experience, so to speak, to have vision, to move in a realm of vision where you have experiences that are transcendental to the physical plane. And when they had chance, I already spoke about that in past video, but when they had chance to be on paradise, and I could see God very, very far away, and I was, God, can I come closer? My consciousness wasn't, I couldn't get any closer, but God came out of where he was and gave me a message. He said he wanted me to bring the whole planet back to paradise. And so I said, I took an etheric hand, I put the planet in my hand, and I said, here it is. And so I brought the whole planet back to the center of things. And so so it is a work that will be going on. But after that, Spirit says that just this simple exercise made a lot. It was an ethereal, the etheric body of the earth. It wasn't the physicality of the earth. But he said that the earth really appreciated. There was great value in because it did a lot of good to the earth to reconnect, to be in this center of centers, to receive the energy of God. And so we want to do that. We want to connect to that to eventually reintegrate all those energies, the pure energies. Understanding also that when we come from the higher planes, the coming down to incarnate on the earth is not for a vacation, it's a business trip. We're on the business of God. We came here to liberate the planet, to free the planet from the bondage of ignorance and And so sometimes it's an hostile territory. It's not like a friendly place. This earth, but eventually we will be. And so our mission is to make it the most. For it is already created as a heaven, as a most beautiful, but extremely contrasted. Yet we're moving into a new time, a new space where there is a great deal of liberation that has been promised and will be delivered by the creators. We're going to be moving. Our physical body will be moved into crystalline chambers, at which point, which may be on the ships or maybe in the inner earth, and at which point all our cellular memories will be cleansed and cleansed of all negative patterns or addiction or illness, and will be transformed into galactic beings. This will be at the time of after first contact, most likely, but we're already going there every night. We don't have the power to upgrade our DNA. And a recommendation something you can do is to repeat to yourself a word that's called tachyon. Tachyon. Tachyon was a very old, it was a solar system, a civilization that advanced into light and life long time ago. And this frequency of tachyon is a frequency of light that goes beyond, is faster than the speed of light. And because in those chambers there will be those are creator light that will be just overloaded with tachyon energy, and that will transform our frequency. But we can already call on those tachyon particles. I'm going to pull a few cards from to see what the energy that can be reflected through our chakras. The chakras are energetic centers. We are always the freedom lies in this vertical axis. For down there we have the connection to the heart of the planet, and above we have the great central sun, and we have this main chakra. There's 550 chakras in our physical and astral body that are not activated yet, for Sananda revealed that, for it's fully activated, and but for right now we want to activate and fuse our own chakras to cleanse up our own chakras. For a long time I was living in my upper chakras, so I was really well connected to the cosmic realms, but I was a bit disconnected from the earth. But now I'm cleansing the lower chakras, the base mostly, and now the base is feeling more clear. I am able to go down to the base, because the base is what supports the whole thing. So it is important to have all our chakras clear and to connect, to always remember this vertical axis, yet remaining conscious of the horizontal, the cross of matter, this holographic universe we live in. So keep your connection to God in your heart, and your consciousness as well in the holographic reality of this matrix. And so right now I'm going to read the main chakras, for there are many other chakras, but at the base is ruled by Pluto. It's the underworld. It's at the bottom roots of our spine. It's where, when it will be clear, the Kundalini will rise and will ignite our light body. We have complementarity. It means we all working as a complement to one another, or as a complement to the universe. We are complement. The divine and the human consciousness are one and the same. There's a father and the son, or the mother and the daughter. There is the teacher and the student, but all of it is one. It's letting go of all the complexity of the puzzle to return into the one unity, and from there everything will fall into place. What we see in the navel is the sacral chakra. It is a chakra of harmonization. It connects to the astral plane. It is governed by Saturn, and it connects to all the physical planes of the earth. It is governed by Saturn. And there is an exercise that you can do when you communicate with someone, you want to feel a strong connection, is to open your navel chakra and tune your frequency to the aura of the person. The person will feel a sense of a deeper connection just by this action. And here we have rewards. It is rewards. We are being rewarded for there is all the works that we do is not. Sometimes it feels like. It is just something that accumulates on the upper planes, but it does not manifest in the physical realm. But sooner or later, things come down. What comes up must come down. It was Newton. I'm not sure. And then the solar plexus, which is governed by Jupiter. It is where our power center is. And here we have clairvoyance, so we're becoming more clairvoyant. Our sun is shining more. We are returning to certain sense of more empowerment. Then the heart chakra, which is the neutral chakra. The first bottom chakras are creative, the high upper chakras are receptive, and the heart is neutral. It blends in all the energy. It is really, in essence, we all live within the heart of hearts, the heart of God. Reconnect, reopen to this great divine heart. And once you are in the heart of hearts, you see that you have you're connected to all the other hearts throughout the whole universe. And there's the great big heart at the center. That's the heart of God. For we all live in the heart of God. God does not see your life as what is important. This is what's you is important. You don't need to get a haircut or get dressed or makeup or anything to connect to God. You can do it at any time. This is something natural and should be done every day. To remember your Creator, there is always and you will be guided to develop. We'll all be guided to refine our technique of communication with our source. Called on Paradise, there is even conductors of worship that preparing us once we get to Paradise to prepare us to this reunion. For worship, will replace humor. Where once we connect to we have a clear. Connection between our sacred heart and our physical heart, the love will flow both ways. We cannot love God more than He loves us, but we can try to communicate that receptive, that's reciprocation. And here we have creation, is the wholeness of life, the wholeness of God. For this universe is far more magnificent than anything we can know at this point, and so we are connected to the truth that will unfold for us will be way beyond anything we can presently understand. And so know that there is always more to be discovered. And call on. Do not be afraid to dream big, to express, to know, and yet we will always have to be facing what we need, not always what we want, but what we need in order to grow and evolve. And so through the heart, we have the whole of creation within our heart. We are created as a universe. There is a microcosm, and that we're connected to the macrocosm. And when we open the door, always concentrate your thoughts on the top of your head. So eventually you open the doorway to the sky, and we can break free to this corporal entrapment, this encapsulation of our soul within our physical body. Then the fifth chakra is governed by Chiron, the planet of healing. And it is we share it with our high-am presence. For the high-am presence live in the sacred heart, in the thymus, and here we have abundance. We communicate it. We bring in. It's the chakras that we bring things in and what comes out of us. And here we have abundance. So we're reconnecting to abundance, to new forms of abundance, to more abundance. What we see in our third eye, which is the seat of consciousness, one of the most important chakras, is governed by Neptune. And here we have the triumph. So it's like the triumph of the light. After going through so many the struggle and hard time, we finally finding this point of freedom. And so we are in gratitude. And then on the crown chakra, which is the door to the sky, it's the lotus of 1,000 petals. Here we have a cheminement, which is the SS. It's like moving step by step. It is like moving through a stairway. But the stairway, we move one step at a time. We are climbing slowly but surely. On the Earth Star chakra, which connects us to that's below our feet, we have this connection to this that's anchored into the Earth, anchored into the planet. And here we have protection. For we are being protected. The spiritual path has been protected. There will be for our guardian angels are protecting us. Sometimes we fell into doubts, into fear, but it doesn't mean that we're not protected. It is a part of the process to return to that. But so know that you are protected, you are guarded, and the more you remember your source, remember that you are connected to Creator, that your true self is God and Creator, the more you can enjoy protection, because this light of God protects you, is the ultimate protection, is the remembering of your divine self. For God is all powerful in truth. But he permits the separation, he permits everything, but yet it wants to reunite, reconnect. And on the soul chakra, which is a silver star that spins, for the crown chakra, you want to visualize a disc that spins above your head, and see what you can bring in from that disc. But above that, there is the the stars, soul star chakra, and then above it goes from silver to gold to platinum. And then there is on the upper atmosphere we have a planetary chakra, then we have a solar chakra, then we have a galactic chakra, and then we have universal chakras. On this pillar of light, eventually we'll be able to travel in this portal and ascend our consciousness. And here we have rest, so there's going to be the ability to rest, to relax from. I've been through a very, very difficult time. For those who have followed my videos in the past few months, it's been the most difficult time of my life. But it's I thank you for following me and for supporting me, for all the encouragement, for embracing the spiritual ascension path. Is for better or for worse. It is we have to go through what we need to go through, and here, so sometimes we have to go through second sin. So it's like. But we'll be able to rest, we're going to be able to relax, to regenerate, to breathe a little bit more. And so I wanted to say that also that there is some beings on the planet that are in position of power that wants to conclude this program of evolution by a great nuclear apocalypse in the biblical sense, and so because they hope, because they have technology they get from extraterrestrial, to escape to the moon and Mars where they have bases. But it will not happen. The galactic will be called to interfere and disconnect some of the negative technology if it becomes too negative for humanity. Some of the dark souls will not be able to reform themselves, so they will be removed. And the negative colonies on Mars and the Moon and the underground bases will also be cleansed. It's part of the process, and there may be at some point for humanity was completely left free to do anything it wanted. For quite a long time, for 12,000 years mainly. But now we're reaching the point. The point that has been reached where the censor may censor reality. There's going to be a judgment of God that will interfere with that will. So it's like it's nothing to be worried about. Those who are not ready will be sanded, for there is no death. There is just transition. Everything transit. So all those who have to depart the planet will go into a plane where they're going to be able to continue their path in duality, where all the ones that stays will be able to start manifesting this freedom, this path of abundance. Once the galactic comes, there will be no more famines, there will be no more lack, there will be no more pollution. We'll stop killing animals, we'll stop killing trees, we'll be given technology to feed ourselves and clothe ourselves without having to destroy the environment. But we'll be given technology to clean the planet. Once the planet will be cleaned and cleansed, then we're going to put our collective will of creative will to embellish the planet, to make it a paradise, to make it more beautiful than we can ever dream of. And it's part of the plan that this planet will be ascending into this paradise realm and to become the heaven that it already is. So yes, for understanding this God self that we have, is fully conscious of all aspects and knows everything about everybody. So there is no need for us to judge anything or anyone, for God already knows. And if there is a need for any judgment or condemnation, God will take care of that. It's not for us to judge or condemn anyone, for everybody has been given free will to do whatever they want with it. Yet God is a transcendental energy. It exists beyond the planet, beyond the universe even. What we want is to move from the complex to the simple, to let go of all the pieces, to move into a whole. For truth is something that we have to dance with life, dance with the soul, dance with the spirit, in order to find this dance. And the truth will unveil, will unfold, will as we're ready for it to unfold. For the beings on the higher planes, on the higher planes of reality, are non-physical, up to them, whether it's physical, some kind of physicality up to the seventh dimension, but after that it's pure, much more ethereal. And those on the higher planes, it's much easier for them to connect to their planetary nature, or to their solar nature, their galactic nature, and universal nature, to eventually regroup as their divine source energy beings that they are. But we're just as much divine energy beings as those on the higher plane. It's just this more difficult for us because we are attached to physicality, and so we have to detach from physicality as much as possible, focus on the heart and expand from there. And for there are much more to life than what we're experiencing now. For there is more light in the human consciousness that's ever been since the fall from grace. For at some point, humanity was living in this graceful energy, but then there was a fall from grace and fall from consciousness, but now we were moving, and there is much more light that's ever been. The galactic have been reporting that there's much more light in human consciousness that's ever been, and so do not be afraid of sharing your story. It is important to share your story, share your experience. Even those people that were reluctant to appreciate and understand you before may be open to it, and you will serve them. So stories are very important. That's what I'm doing here. It's not to validate my own consciousness, to validate my own ideas. It is because it is important to do that. So when we pass through the dark night of the soul, for I've been through that, it's like my life was a nightmare for like a few months, and I try to keep, for spirit always kept me in this direction of liberation, freedom, salvation, and joy. But my human consciousness was fighting against that and say, well, no, I don't feel as comfortable as you want me to be. And so the dark night of the soul, I even had a guide, a friend that came to see me. His name is Virgil. He was a poet. That was trying to assist me. For the story was already told of traversing the airplane. For those who know Dante, what's called the Divine Comedy. It's a sacred poem that Dante wrote in the 14th century. And it is Virgil came as a guide, and he has to traverse hell in order for in America, hell is the only part of the book that is known, but it's a 3-part book. It goes through hell and eventually find the light of the sun in purgatory, and then he travels the purgatory. He's looking for his beloved Beatrice, and he finds her eventually in paradise. Of course, it's the astral planes are concording to his vision as in the Middle Age, and his Christian consciousness in the Middle Age. For the astral plane is all our projection and our dream in relation. But we have to traverse sometimes in order to ascend into this realm of light. We have to accept to traverse the certain shadows and darkness that we have self-created through our unconsciousness. For if we use drugs or alcohol to not look at those things, they will still be there. But so avoid. It's better to pass through those things and clear up those energies. There is no judgment in relationship to using drugs or alcohol, but it's like it's a waste of time when you come to the realization of wanting to finding your freedom. And so even suicidal thoughts are natural when you come into the realization of your enlightenment at some point, because you're awakening to this one light, but you see that there is so much darkness that needs to be transmuted. You say, I don't want to do that. I don't know if I mentioned that already, but it's like here, it's like we're on a business trip, and it's not always peace and love. It can be, but it's not always like that. So it's like sometimes there is all this darkness, but the darkness is an illusion, and the more darkness we feel, the closer we are to the light, and we have to understand that. It means it's actually. So even if you feel like this, do not give in to the temptation of doing that, because you would have to come back and reface the problem in any shape or form. So it's like, but it is not to be judge yourself, forgive yourself for anything you had to pass through in order to achieve that point of freedom. I'll just finish with a thought that last night I had a very, very wonderful, very strange, wonderful dream. I was sitting somewhere with a friend, I don't even know who it was, and I was demonstrating my power of telekinesis. I was like bringing object back and forth with my mind. I was moving it like small objects, and it's like this. I feel like I'm really looking forward to returning to those as my base clears, and I know those powers will come alive for human beings. We have not yet discovered this power of levitation, this power of telekinesis, and by localization. Sometimes we do when we have a thought that we are somewhere else and our physicality is somewhere. We already do that, or teleportation or dematerialization. There's all kinds of power, but telekinesis is quite wonderful. And so that it was quite a funny dream. It was really funny. I really enjoyed that, and I'm looking forward to be able to actually manifest that on the physical plane. The highest wisdom for us today is the healer. So it's about healing, about finding wholeness. It's not about finding perfection. It's about finding wholeness, accepting things, and moving to understanding that we are whole already. what we need to understand is health. Sometimes to do things for our health may not be comfortable. We have to let go of all kinds of habits that are not health conducive, but health has to become a priority, the health of our physical body, mental health as well. But mental health will be bring back into balance once we have integrated the lessons that we need to integrate. And it's all happening with this eclipse will greatly help in July. What we need to do is the baby. It's about being born, to being reborn. And for a long time, Spirit says that I'm going to be reborn, and I'm like, I say, I want to be reborn, but it's like until it's ready, it's like be reborn as a spirit, as a higher being, as a more empowered being, and so this is really what's going on. But the old self, the old consciousness of the old self has to die. This physical, material consciousness, with all its limitation, all its fear, all its doubts, have to be completely dead in order for it to be reborn into a place of power, to become an ascended master that we already are. We already are masters in the making, and the outcome is God, is the Father. It's finding this, recognizing that source and being one with our beloved source. For God has amazing things to share with us. So it's about availing ourselves as much as possible to that God's self, that source energy. The paintings behind me is this one is a portrait of Tali. It's one of the three graces, and it's very simple, and it's not so easy to simplify art. For I love Henri Matisse because it's simplified. For those beautiful paintings that are very complex, but to find the simplification is really something very interesting. Although I do some very complex methodical paintings, I like to do on paper, to do some very expressionist, simple paintings. Some people may like some, they may dislike some others for personal taste. For that, so that's perfectly fine. But what I like also about my art, I was looking back a little bit of some of my paintings, and it's completely recognizable. You cannot mistake it for somebody else. My style, I'm trying to stay good and to have good taste, to be tasteful, but also to have a high style, something that cannot be missed. To believe that it's somebody else that created those paintings. For those people who know my art, when they see a painting, it's like, well, it's recognizable that it's one of my paintings. And this painting, I will make probably another video about that. It's my personal astrological chart, where I put over 100 planets that I found in my chart. For we all have, there is 10 major astral bodies that represents the major planets in astrology, but there is small planets that are very potent and powerful, and we all have planets in all the signs, and we need to integrate the lessons of all 12 constellations. We have Pisces, ascendant Pisces, so it's not easy. It's like Pisces have to learn to receive, because they're like all about giving, when the Aries is all about taking. It's like, but it's all part of it. It's like the Aries have to learn to give, and the Pisces have to learn to receive. And everything in between as well. For every constellation are very specific. They hold a responsibility to educate us on some level, and so. Here, for instance, the main configuration in my chart is a water triangle between Mercury, the Sun, Mars, and Chiron in Pisces. Makes a triangle to the Moon and Neptune in Cancer. That makes a triangle to my North Node in Cancer, in Scorpio, sorry. So there is, but then I have Uranus and Pluto that are conjuncting in Virgo, which oppose my Sun. But all those little planets, I will return to the small planets in astrology, for they're quite interesting. Astrology will condition the human consciousness. Some days are difficult because certain planets are in difficult conversations, for we don't realize. But so we're going to be moving into this lot of retrograding planets. So do not be concerned if you feel like you're repeating something, or just try to approach it with new eyes. I think it's the essential message and to find this healing that will be coming. We'll finish with a song. It's a song about the Wizard of Oz, the great magician. We want to rediscover the power of magic, that we are the soul and spirit. We are soul, we are spirit, we are creator beings that are behind the scenes creating all this experience. And so it goes like this. Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I heard of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow, Skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream ready to come true. Someday I wish upon a star and wakes up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me. Somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly. Birds fly over the rainbow wide, and oh, why can't I? If happy little bluebirds fly beyond the rainbow, why, oh, why can't I? Follow the rainbow over the stream, follow the fellow who follows the dream, follow the yellow brick road, follow the yellow brick road, follow the yellow brick road. We're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. We hear is a whiz of a whiz, if ever a whiz there was. If ever, oh ever a whiz there was, the Wizard of Oz is one because of the wonderful thing he does. We're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. Well, thank you for sticking till the end. Thank you for liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing. For there will be much that will be unfolding and happening, and I hope we continue to share this energy, and we're going to continue to share this energy to create this new life, this new earth that. We came down here to create, to fulfill our mission, our destiny, and to reactivate our potential as a full co-creator being, a full creator eventually. Thank you very much. I wish you a wonderful day. Namaste.